In my last Bitcoin video, I talked about this sell. Yeah, and I pulled a volume profile through here. We were looking at this, and I said if it breaks under here, we look to sell. If you watch my last video, you'll see it, and this is actually the markups. But anyway, what we're going to do in this video is have a look and see what's coming. And I want to show you something. This indicator here, right? When this blue fixed line trends under the blue dashed line, and the purple line, this is a weekly, the blue is daily, and this is an institutional order flow, this dotted line. This is our sell signal right here. That is where we get involved, especially when it breaks under purple. Could have got involved back in here, but that is the confirmation right there. Let's show you this. Let's go to a bar chart. And when you enter these trades, let me just show you this. Short position, stop, okay, look at the previous swing and go. So there's your signals. Well, you got these signals here, you could take those. You could take this one, see how it's broken under the blue line, so that's another sell. Short position, stop above that high, nice. Short position, only if we're trading below both. Yeah, you probably would have taken that short. Stop above the previous high. You would take that short there, stop above the previous high. So far so good. You would take that short. Oh, actually no. You wouldn't take this one because the blue line has traded above the dotted line, so you wouldn't get involved. You would have got involved with that. Okay, let's just do this. You would have got involved with that. Stop above that. And you only get involved when the blue trades under the dotted blue. That's where you get involved again. Right there. Stop above that previous high. And you only go when both of these are pointing south. Now the blue line actually starts here. This is the opening bell. And the blue line actually is behind the purple. You don't trade it if it's trending up. Now, see how we break above? Okay, can be a little bit scary at times. So everything crosses above here. Actually, that one is trending up and the blue and purple cross here. So you'd look for a pullback. You wouldn't want to be, you don't get long up. You've got to use common sense. Oh, it's a 30-minute time frame. I would go down to a 15-minute. Anyway, I'm going to show you how we get involved with the next. You see these two signals here? That's your entry. You've got to wait for that. See the white? That's a monthly. Right, you broke through the white back down to retest. There your signals to enter long there. Now, I am suggesting, and stop below well as a previous low here, I am suggesting that we take 60% off at 1R because the volatility is pretty severe. All it takes is a Trump tweet and, we're in trouble. That's an entry back there. Long position right there. So stop under the previous, well, you go under here. That's already at 1, nearly at 1R. Well, it would have reached 1R there, see? And then, this would be a profitable trade. It's a bit late now. I would look for the next buy signal. Anyway, that is trading VWAP. And there's a volume profile component to this that I haven't included, but that's just using our VWAP indicators and running with this strategy. That's a really nice setup. So I'm going to clear everything and we're going to have a look and see where to go from here. I'll take my indicator off because I can't show this on TradingView, and we are going to go to TradingView. Okay, hit TradingView. Looking at Bitcoin, 4-hour chart. So this is starting to move. Higher, high, higher, low. Bias is bullish, but watch out, we're at the high of this range now. Have a look at it. Let's go out. And you could consider this to be an accumulation range. It's a typical, you've got the breakout here and it's starting to trend up. But, in saying that, all it takes is Donald to get out of bed the wrong way and that becomes a bear flag on the higher time frame and down it goes, right? So even though it looks bullish, we've seen it all before. And then it took a dump right here. It's very similar. Right, so I don't trust any of it. But let's just go down to a 4-hour time frame. And I'm going to run with the momentum at the moment. In fact, actually, we've got a bit of a bear flag going on. So it's fairly questionable, to be honest. So if we grab a, where is it? ABC, it's in here somewhere. Head and shoulders, sorry, bear flag. Head and shoulders, we've got left shoulder, the head, right shoulder. But now we have a higher high. So that's a pretty bearish pattern. So, I mean, you know, where do you go with that? So here's how I approach it. I'll show you this. The first thing I'm going to do is grab an anchored VWAP. This will tell me where buyers and sellers are dominating. All right, here we go, see? So this is a main value area we're trading through at the moment. So the high and low of this area here is pretty well range bound until we break out of it. We could narrow it down a little bit more to this low value node, to this low value node here, all right? But you really want to consider the bigger picture and how this thing will tend to wiggle around inside this range. So while it's range bound, you could possibly look for, well, the retest of that, and it breaks down and we go back down to the low here. Okay, you fade it back into the range. If it drops down here, we can possibly look to trade it back up the range, right? So it's range bound. That's range, yeah, trading the range, right? So we need to see this break structure. And if we grab a fixed range volume profile, just take it from here to here. We can confirm that on the shorter time frame, we've got this value area, high and low, and then stretching it a little bit further back, you know, we get this high and this low. So the way that I would trade this now would be to go down to a 30-minute chart. We've got it mapped out in terms of volume. So we can see that this is the main volume profile point of control right through here. Okay, so we've traded above the POC. That is a key support zone. You want to see it hold above that. And obviously, we've got this going on the 30-minute, higher, high, higher, low. Higher, high, higher, low, right? And then we're off, possibly. Understand that this blue range, it could just move up and down through here as well. So, you need to be really careful at this point in time. The way that I get involved with this is I grab a anchored volume profile, VWAP. And if I'm bullish, okay, so let's just throw that on the low, previous low. That one will do. And well, previous high, okay. So we start to build this volume profile VWAP cluster. Previous high, most recent low, okay. We're getting a bit closer to home now. So we've got this here, you see, this cluster that's kind of straddling the point of control. And then last but not least, you go off this high. And this, from this VWAP high down to the VWAP low here, is our point of interest insofar as the value area, a key level. Now, to get long with this, you just want to see. Well, we got the VWAPs, right? You just want to see here. See how it broke out of VWAP here, came back and retested this high. That's an entry. Like even you could go to a 15-minute chart, long position. That works. Stop. Well, wherever you want to go with it, right? Under the point of control. Okay, that worked. And I'm inclined to, I'm actually taking 60% off my positions at 1R now. I don't trust the volatility. All it takes is Trump jumping out of bed and getting onto Truth Social and away it goes, right? Next thing, the market's crashing. Be careful here because we have got, currently it's still a lower high. All right, so for me to get long, this has to, without question, it's got to break. We've got to give us a higher high and then come back to retest this value area high. And I would be semi-interested because the other thing you've got going here is the fact that this up here is where it could just trade back down to the bottom of the range and we've got this range-bound thing. So you just got to be so careful, guys. Real confirmation for me would be that. Then I'm all in, right? And there's your target area up in here. But at the moment, you'd probably want to go in cautiously with a small position if we get a pullback above this. And just consider, like, even go down to a 15 minute, just consider tight stops. Here we go, look. Long position back down in here on that breakout of VWAP there. So let's just say that's a long. Tight stops, well, around the previous low up into the candle bodies. And even that, I mean, what do we get out of that? That's 1R. So this is where, and look, 1R, yeah, here, that would be definitely a target. I would take my 60% off that and then move that up just slightly below POC and hold on to it. And then that's cash positive if that stop gets taken out down here. All right, so, same thing, guys. So if I have to see a higher high. At the moment, it's lower. It's got to break out of here and come back, right? However it works out, okay? And then I'm long, and then long position goes in, stop under the previous low if that's it. It's got to break out of VWAP. It's still within this VWAP cluster, right? And then I'm looking for a 1R target, especially with this blue line up in here, volume profile, value area high. A 1R target to take 50% off, and that's going to be up in around here, or 60%. All right, and then if that works out, pull that up after you've taken money off the table, and then just I mean, for all I know, it could rally. We could get that out. That'd be my target up in there. So I mean, if that's the case, that's a 6R target. Nice, and then you could just follow it up. If it plays out like that, right? So that's an entry. If we break above, and then the other is, look, we've still got this lower high here. If it decides to turn around, just keep the VWAP thing going, and then an entry down here would be, under VWAP for sure, right? And then you're targeting 1 and 2. So that's my take on Bitcoin at the moment. Yeah, just do that. Oh, shit. Sorry. Did I say that? Sheesh. Okay. Possibly up there. The high is the target, and if we break above this, yeah, it's on, guys. Look at this thin liquidity through here up until this value area. But that's a trade plan. You can definitely use that for sure, and just keep an eye on the most previous recent high and low with anchored VWAP. And then look for that VWAP cluster breakout. But you've got to include the volume profile, these areas here, the high and low, and all the rest of it. So, look, that's it. I would love it if you comment and let me know what you think. Are we on the same page? At the moment, be careful, right? And with that, hope you have a great day, safe trading, and I'll see you in the next one.